I can't believe I went this long without knowing these secret hacks. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So last week's video, I talked about the pros and cons of chinchilla care, which if you missed it, make sure to check out the link in the description below. However, today we're going to be talking about how I overcame those negatives. I'm going to give you my secret tips and tricks on chinchilla care. Now, I have 4 chinchillas at home, so I understand that it can be overwhelming at times, but these tips and tricks will help you out. Now, let's start with my first trick. Now, one of the biggest complaints about chinchillas is the dust from their dustpan. So this ingenious hack will help out. It is a cat litter box as a chinchilla bathhouse. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, chinchillas and cats have a very similar problem of trying to keep dust in something else and not all over the house. So they make this litter box for cats that does just that. And it's perfect for chinchillas. So basically how it works is they enter through the opening in the front and they go around the corner into their dust bath where the cat litter would be, so to speak. But this not only is great in itself because the dust needs to exit around the corner, but on this exit path, it's like a platform above the dust. So they go on top of it, shake off, and then on this platform is holes, so the dust just goes straight back down into the dust bath. So it's great because it keeps the dust in the dust bath where it's supposed to be. Now, my next tip is critical care cookies. Now, remember that video where I syringe feed my chinchilla critical care? Well, did you guys know that critical care expires? Now, a lot of chinchilla owners, because it expires, when they have to use it, they make the rest of it into cookies, which is ingenious because it's not great for them to eat on a regular basis, but it's a great, safe treat. My next tip is a CHINBUDDY. So I recently had a pair of chinchillas break up because they started fighting, so I needed to separate them, which isn't the greatest because chinchillas are quite social and they enjoy the company of another chinchilla. So you're probably wondering, why don't I just get another chinchilla and that would solve the problem? Well, they are older, so it's going to be harder to bond them. So there's no guarantee that these 2 chinchillas are going to bond up, and I would have so many single chinchillas where it is not needed. So one of the tips that I have found is they can find companionship in a CHINBUDDY. And a lot of people on Etsy make these. They're basically a safe stuffed animal that looks like a chinchilla. Though some chinchillas like it, some chinchillas don't. So you're gonna have to gauge with that. But again, chinchillas don't necessarily need a companion, but this can substitute as one. My next tip is to escape-proof a cage. When I got Quinn, I was nervous that she was going to be quite small because she was quite young. So I was afraid that she would be able to try to escape the cage and get stuck. So what I did in this case was I escape-proofed my cage, which basically is just putting hardware cloth on the outside of your cage, and you can attach it with like zip ties or something, and this will make the bar spacing of your cage smaller, so you don't have to buy a new cage, and it's safe for your younger chinchillas. And if you guys want a step-by-step guide on how I did this, I made a video just for that, so look in the description below and check out that video. So like I said before, chinchillas are liquids. They are master escape artists. If there is a way out, they will find it. So give me a like if your chinchilla has ever escaped. If you have any crazy stories, because I know I have, please comment them below. I would love to hear all your crazy escape stories. So since we're talking about chinchillas being liquids, let me go to my next tip on how to catch an escape artist. Now, have you ever tried the dust bath method? This method is you take a dust bath and you put it in the corner where they're hiding or where they're at, and then you just walk a few steps back. They should theoretically go into the dust bath, and you would be able to cover the dust bath with your hands, pick up the whole dust bath, and move them into the cage. I use this method and it works swimmingly. I haven't had a scenario where it doesn't work, but you know, sometimes your chinchilla figures it out. It's a great method to catch someone that has escaped or even to get them back in the cage after playtime. So these next tips are for the Ferret Nation or Critter Nation cage users. I personally am a great supporter of these cages because they are very customizable. And there's a lot of things that are custom made specifically for these cages. So specifically, these cages have the ability to be stacked. So I have a cage that is stacked 3 high, which as you can imagine is quite tall, which has issues with stability as well as where you're going to keep them. I personally have them in a room that is quite short, so my solution for this was to actually cut off the base. So they come with this big shelf underneath the cage where you can place things, but for the most part, I didn't use that shelf because I had my own shelf next to it. So what I did was I just cut straight off the bottom, but I left enough room for the wheels. So I just plopped the wheels back into the cutted portion of my cage. So now it can still move around easily, but is much, much shorter. And it even fits in my basement, which the ceiling is quite low down there. Let's move on to my next tip for this cage. Now, I personally do not like using fleece liners, which unfortunate with this cage, they come with plastic pans that need to be covered with those fleece liners. I personally don't like the fleece liners because you have to change them quite often in order for the cage not to smell. So I personally like to use wood chips as my bedding, which as you can imagine, using it with a plastic pan does not work out well because the walls are quite short. So they actually make custom metal pans that you can place in your cage. So I use these metal pans that are custom made for my Ferret Nation cage that I got from Bass. And they not only make the full pan, they make the one with the cutout so you can have multiple levels. They even make an option for that separate shelf that comes in those cages as well. So you can have them everywhere. This also allows for a great poop guard, and I know people that just use the metal pans as is and just uses that as the bedding. There's no bedding in there. They're a perfect fit for your cage. So a lot of people don't like using shavings because it gets everywhere. So these people typically prefer to use a fleece liner. Now, fleece liners need to be cleaned more often, so it is recommended that you have more than one, but they are quite expensive to purchase already made. So here is my tip for easy fleece liners. All you have to do is go to your craft store, pick up a no-pill fleece and some metal binder clips. All you need to do is use these metal binder clips to clip directly onto your floor pan. And then 1, 2, 3, you have an easy liner. And you can have multiples without breaking the bank. So there are 2 big complaints with chinchillas, and that is dust and poop. I kid you not, when you have a chinchilla, it's like they fling their poop out of their cage like it's their job. How do we solve that problem? This brings me to my next tip, poop guards. Poop guards are essentially a piece of safe wood that is attached to your cage on the outside near your floor pan. And this essentially just keeps the poop inside the cage. You can also find these poop guards on the back of huts and even your shelves. This will all keep the poop where it needs to be. So we got the floors covered with the poop guards, but what about the walls? Chinchillas are quite messy and it gets everywhere, but also you want to protect your walls from your chinchillas possibly chewing on something back there. My next tip is to make backdrops. So the way that I made my backdrops is with a piece of no-pill fleece, which I picked out cute designs. You also need a cheap curtain rod and some command strip hooks to hang onto the wall. The command strips make it easier to move so you don't have to actually mount a curtain rod in the middle of your house. Now for my bonus tip. If you're looking to adopt a chinchilla, I have made a special guide just for you. It's filled with checklists, item recommendations, and all the care requirements for your chinchilla. Just make sure to download it in the description below. And don't forget to check out these videos where I talk about each care requirement in detail. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite tip was and why. And if you have any tips and tricks that you use please share it with us in the comments as well. Now that you know all my tips and tricks on owning a chinchilla, make sure you check out next week's video where I talk all about what it's like to even own a chinchilla. So make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get notified the next time I post. And while you wait for that video, make sure you check out these videos next. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.